Alright, so today is June 6th, it's Tuesday. We've got back from testing at Pikes Peak this weekend. Got a little bit of sleep and a whole lot of coffee, and so we're actually back to functioning again, which is nice. So I want to let you know what happened. So we had some really good results and some, unfortunately, not so good results. As far as the car goes, we finally have got a turbo Ninja package. We're making the power that we wanted to make. The car is significantly faster than it's ever been before. Scott, our driver, is telling us that at some straights he's over 10 miles an hour faster than he's ever been. He's having to brake for corners that he's never had to brake for before. There's a lot more speed that he's able to carry through the course. So much so that he's almost having to relearn to drive the car. You know, when he's able to get on the throttle, he has so much more power band than he's had before. He's having to change, just throttle application, how he comes out of corners and stuff, which is great. It means that the car should be a lot faster. We should have a really good result this year if we can keep it cool, and that's the problem. We've had an ongoing cooling issue with this car since the first year we ran it. First year we ran, we overheated from basically the halfway point all the way to the summit. Really overheated the engine, pulled it out, did head gaskets at that point, put it back in the car, and ever since we've had an issue where the car, we've done some other mitigation to the cooling system. The car is not overheated, but we've had this kind of ongoing issue where we're moving coolant into the overflow and it's not pulling back into the radiator. That's one of the inspirations for putting on the electric water pump. In the process of doing that, the problem we ran into was it felt like we couldn't properly burp the cooling system after we put the water pump on. With the electric water pump, because it's out of the system, with the car off, we can actually turn the pump on and cycle the fluid through the engine. And we never were able to get to a point where we never had bubbles coming in into the engine, or at least minimal at least. And so it felt like we were not properly burping the system. We did some kind of around town driving and got the car up to temperature, and it seemed like everything was working, the air was moving out. But then we went and did a quick little track test and had some overheating. And brought it back, and we've did a real deep dive on the cooling system. What we discovered is that we actually had a small leak on the bottom of the radiator, actually at the drain plugs. At some point it got cross-threaded, so we had a little bit of leakage there. And we had not one but two bad radiator caps. One of them was just catastrophically failed, not holding any pressure whatsoever. So finding all those things, well, either one of those problems would create the situation that we're running into. So we fixed them, went out there and tested the car. From the best we could tell, it was better. But then this weekend, unfortunately, we really overheated. On the first day, we actually got only 3 runs in, and we lost about a gallon of coolant, so almost half the total capacity of the system. And when I say coolant, of course, we're running water wetters. That's not actual coolant. That's been one of the quandaries that we've had, is because it's water's boiling point is so much lower than coolant in water. We've been wondering if that's part of the problem, why we keep pushing coolant out, which has been basically a problem on this car since day one. So day 2, we kind of knew that was going in. We fixed it. We burped the system intermittently. We still lost basically a gallon of coolant between 2 runs. The electric water pump is showing some real promise. But now we've kind of come to the obvious conclusion that, knowing now that the radiator is checked out, the radiator caps have checked out, pressure tested the system, and that holds pressure, but we're still moving coolant into the overflow. Really the only other place it could be coming from is the head gaskets. So we're about to pull the engine out, tear it down, see what we find, replace the head gaskets, and hopefully get it back together in time for race week. And again, the incentive is the car is performing better than it ever has before. We should be faster than we've ever have been before by a long way because of the turbo change that we've made. But now we've got to get the car together and try and keep it together and keep it cool for the actual whole week and the actual run. So that's what we're off to do. So it'll be a busy few days here, and hopefully we'll get the car back together, and we'll see you in 2 weeks here up on Pikes Peak. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks for all the support and the enthusiasm, and hopefully we'll have a good result this year.